Welcome to the former William Barton Rogers Middle School, soon to be the new Pryde of Hyde Park. On behalf of Penrose and our partner LGBTQ Senior Housing, Inc. and the City of Boston, I want to welcome you to this truly groundbreaking event. This is the first LGBTQ-friendly development in all of Boston and all of New England. This incredible asset behind us has been the pride of this community for over 100 years. Soon, it will serve the community again for another 100, repurposed into housing and community space. As you can see from our illustrative program, there are a great many of people that are responsible for us being here today. And we have a great many speakers. So let's get started, because it's very hot. I would like to begin by saying that I know that I would not be standing here today were it not for the dedication, perseverance, and commitment of Eileen Montour. She is our fearless leader, our champion. She is president of the board of LGBTQ Senior Housing. She took a group of people as a task force, turned it into a not-for-profit, and hired an amazing executive director in Gretchen Van Ness. And so without further ado, it is my true honor to introduce our partner, LGBTQ Housing President Eileen Montour, to say a few remarks and to introduce the mayor.
Wow. Good afternoon and happy Pride. This is such an amazing, joyful, celebratory, historic moment as we celebrate the Pride. I want to certainly give all thanks to all the folks who supported our vision, believed in our vision, and supported us as we brought this to fruition. All of the elected and appointed officials and all their hardworking staff, all the folks. It takes a village and a half to get these things done. I have to also mention, I don't know where, oh, there he is, our dear partners. We couldn't have done it without you, Charlie Adams in Penrose, and Philippe Saad and Demella Schaefer, and all the rest of the huge team that brought this forward. We are utterly grateful. I'm going to give a special shout out to Sheila Dillon, who made us believe, you believed in us. And right behind her is Josh Zakum, godfather of this whole affair. He held the first city council hearing on the need for this LGBT-friendly senior housing. It made all the difference and got us launched. So we appreciate those who, led the way, helped us do this job. And I'm going to say that this is not just your ordinary groundbreaking for a project. This is breaking barriers. This is a historic moment. This is the first time that we're creating space here that is truly safe, welcoming, and inclusive of everyone, including LGBTQ seniors. We're utterly grateful. There's such a critical need, again, to live out your senior years feeling safe and welcome and in community. So it's going to make a big difference in a lot of people's lives and set a model for what we do next, because the need is great. But sort of for one amazing time, our whole community feels seen, heard, and cared about. And it's huge, and we are eternally grateful. So thank you, everyone who's been involved in this. We really appreciate it. So, and now I have the honor and the privilege to introduce our amazing, groundbreaking, and historic mayor, Mayor Michelle Wu.
Is it morning? No. Good afternoon, everyone. I don't know what time it is. It's been a long day already. It is so exciting, so exciting to be gathered here with everyone. Thank you so much, and one more round of applause for Eileen, our fearless leader. I'm humbled and honored to be here in community and with leaders who I get to take up the charge every single month to build a city for everyone. So we're joined here, and of course you'll hear from next our amazing Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, State Representative Rob Consalvo, your District City Councilor Ricardo Arroyo, and your at-large City Councilor Julia Mejia. Did I miss anyone on the elected side? No? Anyway, okay. And of course, someone I got to sit next to on the City Council for a long time who's also already gotten one shout out, but thank you, Josh Zachem, former City Councilor, for making this possible. Grateful to our partners in the state and the administration as well. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Thank you to Madam Undersecretary for all of your leadership. It's been fun to go to the housing announcements one after the others. There's a lot happening in Massachusetts and in Boston here. And most of all, thank you to the residents who have welcomed and cheered on and worked to advocate for this project to happen. It is your leadership and your partnership with our city officials, several cabinet members represented here, department heads, that has made it possible for us to move one step after another to get to this point. Now just, I think, a little over a year, am I right? Away? Less? Okay. I'll just say a little more than a year, maybe a little more than that. Until when we will be able to come back for another big, big celebration. I was bestowed my Pryde Heart this morning at the Haley Pilot Elementary School in Roslindale, where on field day, towards the end of the school year, they were receiving national attention for getting an award, the Welcoming Cities Seal of Excellence, for schools that are doing everything they can through curriculum, through community building, through partnerships to ensure that our littlest ones are building a community for everyone every single day, safe, inclusive, and ensuring that we are actively targeting anti-racism, anti-bias, and standing proud in all of our efforts. But to build a city for everyone, it truly needs to be an intergenerational city. And I'm thrilled that after 7 years of public process and many of quiet planning and meetings before that, we're at a major moment to support our seniors and to ensure that our LGBTQ+ seniors will live their lives in a way that everyone deserves in our city. Just a few months ago, we announced the City of Boston's first ever Office of LGBTQ+ Advancement. This was an important step in our journey toward creating a city that is safe, just, and inclusive for all of us. And we're joined here today by the director of that office, Quincy. Thank you so much. While representation, visibility, and having a voice at the table are important parts of the work, they're only part. Because Boston's queer community has endured so many systemic injustices, from housing discrimination and income inequality to higher rates of unemployment, increased food insecurity. We recently conducted Boston's Beyond Pryde survey, which confirmed these realities and reminded us of the urgency. Across the board, neighborhood after neighborhood, the entire city, our queer residents made clear that housing and homelessness are a top priority for our community, which is why I'm so excited to be here today, breaking ground on Boston's first ever designated LGBTQ+ welcoming senior home. The Pryde is a celebration of what's possible when we take a compassionate, inclusive approach to housing. When we recognize housing not as a privilege for some or a luxury, but as a right, and for that housing to truly see and wrap around all parts of our community members. It's more than just a symbol of progress. The Pryde will be a living legacy that generations of families will benefit from. The $46.8 million in renovations will go toward creating 74 income-restricted units, 8 of which will be for families or individuals who are unhoused or need rental assistance. The finished project will also include community gardens, walking trails, an art studio with a gallery, and shared space for community programming. This redevelopment not only creates more inclusive, affordable, community-centered housing in our city, it will also reduce our carbon footprint. While preserving the original beauty of this historic building, These renovations will add modern, sustainable infrastructure in the form of energy-efficient heating and cooling systems as well, and appliances that will cut energy costs and reduce emissions to make it even more sustainable for our seniors living inside. This incredible project is a result of extensive collaboration between our partners at Penrose and LGBTQ Senior Housing, Inc. Thank you again to all the incredible leaders and residents here in Hyde Park and beyond and across the city who work to bring this vision to life as we continue to do the on-the-ground work of building a more just, more inclusive city for all of us. Moments like these are a reminder that we have what it takes to break new ground, tackle climate change, make meaningful, lasting changes for the people who call our city home, and ensure that Boston is the most welcoming city in America. On that note, it is my honor to welcome someone who fights for this vision every single day and has made an impact not only in the 7th, but across the entire country. Someone who has been there from the beginning of this project as well. A champion of transformational change, one of our fiercest advocates and allies up at the federal level, and my friend, Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley.
I know y'all are just clapping for this outfit. Because in all seriousness, happy Pride! Happy Pride in every single way. I will not be up here long. I thank our mayor, all those who made this moment possible. It wasn't that long ago that I was, mere hours ago actually, I was sitting in a committee hearing room for the January 6th Select Committee regarding the events of January 6th. And it was a sobering and frightening reminder of just how close we came. And these are fragile times for our democracy, for our peace, people's faith in government, people's general peace of mind and sense of safety. And that's why there is nowhere in the world I would rather be right now than in the Massachusetts 7th on this day and at this ribbon cutting, because this affirms all that we're capable of and what is possible and what is most important. You know, right now we talk a lot about there are many offices and agencies creating new divisions of diversity and equity and inclusion. And I think when we first started these conversations many years ago, we got it wrong because we centered the use of the word tolerance. No one seeks to be tolerated. No one deserves to be tolerated. Everyone deserves to be seen and counted and heard and safe. And that is true in every facet of society, but especially the place that you call home. And that's what today is about. I serve on the Financial Services Committee. I also vice chair the Task Force on Aging and Families. In financial services, we work on those issues like housing and homelessness. And in the Task Force on Aging and Families, I'm tackling everything there from lowering the cost of prescription drugs to an Older Americans Bill of Rights to the solvency of Social Security, fighting for our grand families, which is a growing family model, and also for our LGBTQ seniors. And I think it's important to be strident and unapologetic. 2 days ago, I was in a committee hearing fighting to advance a bill that I'm an original co-sponsor of. It's the LGBTQ Data Inclusionary Act, which would require federal agencies in their demographic collection to include the LGBTQ community. And I would not think that something like that would be met with resistance. Yes, I'm still an eternal optimist. But in fact, it was. But we're going to get that done because we recognize that in order for people to feel seen and heard and for their needs to be met, they have to be counted. So, on this day, we stridently and unapologetically affirm that housing is a human right, that everyone is deserving of that, including and especially our LGBTQ+ seniors. You can clap on that. It is my desire, my prayer, my hope, my duty to ensure that every single person can show up in the world fully, authentically, and unapologetically as themselves, without fear, without discrimination in a learning community, in your workplace, and certainly not in your home. I first became aware of the discrimination that many of our LGBTQ+ seniors face through State Representative Liz Miranda. And it was heartbreaking to me that many could consider having to recloset themselves in order simply to have housing. Everyone deserves to live their truth, fully, authentically, unapologetically. And everyone deserves more than shelter. They deserve a home and a community. And so again, that is what this is about. And the fact that this historic housing model is breaking ground in the Massachusetts 7th, well, that is in and of itself gives me a tremendous source of pride. And then finally, this is a demonstration of the best kind of collaboration. Those things that are community-driven and government endorsed and supported and invested in. Again, it's a model and a reminder of what is possible. So, happy Pryde, period. Happy and congratulations on this historic groundbreaking of the Pryde, Boston's first dedicated LGBTQ-friendly housing development for our senior Bostonians. And again, I want to thank my fellow Hyde Park resident and community builder, Gretchen Van Ness, and the entire team at LGBTQ Senior Housing, Inc., for the invitation to join you all here today. And thank you for your labor of love on behalf of all of our seniors. The Massachusetts 7th, this is a vibrant, diverse, and dynamic district. And that is in large part due to the contributions of the LGBTQ community. And in order for this to truly be a just community, an inclusive community, we must leave no one behind. And so I'm so grateful that many will be able to have a home here. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So my phone is starting to blow up to say the weather might be coming. So we want to make sure we can get through all the speakers, and so we're going to move this along pretty fast, and we're going to try to get the shovels before the lightning comes. So, but I did want to say quickly that, from great remarks, Congresswoman, and from the city, you have an amazing team that works with you, Sheila and Jessica and Rihanna and Kelly, amazing group that really put this deal together, and I think I have them all on speed dial now. So clearly this is a big building behind me, and a big building needs a lot of money, and a lot of that money came from the state. Over $25 million came from the Baker-Polito administration. And the two things I want to say before I invite it up is we're not the only ones that get all that money. You're doing a lot of tremendous work, and not just with housing, with the whole affordable housing and equitable community with homeownership and zoning and TOD. So we really appreciate your work.
Thank you, Charlie. It's great that we're all in the shade at the moment, but I just want to say how proud I am on behalf of our administration to be part of such an historic moment. This is an incredible accomplishment. You can set policies as a mayor, as a congresswoman, and us as leaders of the executive branch with our colleagues in the legislature who are here today. You can make it a priority to set a housing agenda that is inclusive, that is responsive, and that is important for the future health of our communities and our Commonwealth. But if you set the policy, you need a whole lot of money and resource to also make it happen. So you get policy, you get dedicated resources. I'm thrilled that we have state, municipal, and federal partners all working together, knowing that our commitment to housing is critical for the future success of our states across our country. But then you need a team of people that are back at the office actually doing the work to actually put those policies into play, put those resources to the table, and actually get this done. I want to give a big shout out to Kate Racer, DHCD, to the neighborhood development. I'm just looking at this sign here. Take a look at all the incredible partners that have made this happen, including Penrose stepping up and not walking away from an important project like this. Many would, looking at the daunting task of reusing this building for this purpose. But what comes about as part of this is, in Massachusetts, we don't shy away from doing things first because they're complicated, messy, and hard. We gravitate toward that. And we take on the first, we figure out how to get it done, we develop the playbook, and guess what? We'll see a lot more of this kind of housing, specialized and friendly and inclusive and supportive to LGBTQ residents of our community, and do this in perpetuity and show the others how it can get done, so that there is no excuse. It's complicated. We don't have enough manpower, people power to get this done, because we have the playbook. So there's a lot that we stand for in support of today, including handing off that playbook to many others that can see this kind of housing be possible in their community. 74 units of housing, but those units are home. And when you look at this building as one large home, I am so happy for the residents who will live here, the older residents, although I don't think 62 is all that old. But this is a population of people who lived in secret, lived with a lot of challenges, and not living in a community that was supportive for most of their lives. And they deserve to have this opportunity in this community, to have fun, to be successful and happy with each other and in this Commonwealth. And let me just say one more thing. This isn't just a first for the city and the Commonwealth, it's a first for New England. All right. So with that, I want to say thank you to everybody. Should I turn it over to Undersecretary Maddox?
We're going to have the Secretary from Hyde come up.
Right. Michelle, come right up and you'll get your proper introduction. Congratulations.
Hello, Boston. I am Michelle Perez. I'm the Assistant Deputy Secretary for the Office of Field Policy and Management at the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. And on behalf of Secretary Marcia L. Fudge, I say to you, happy Pride. I think this development represents two major pieces that I want to make sure I beat the lightning so that you can hear all the other speakers, so I will be brief. But I do want to say this. This surrounds two major focuses that have been well responded to, well focused on by this administration, and that is one, making sure that everyone has our way home. The president recently issued a housing strategy plan that is going to increase the affordable housing supply in the next 5 years, and that may sound like a stratospheric goal in the world that we are in right now. We understand the challenges, but what it means is being in places just like this and amplifying the work that is happening just like this for the people who need it most. I want to say to you, congratulations for the work, the hard effort, and the connections that you've made in building this, because we know it can be done, and we know that it will be done again and again and again. The second point I want to raise very clearly is that Secretary Fudge has often said every person should be treated with respect and dignity and should be able to live without fear, no matter who they are or whom they love. And as a consequence, in February 2021, pursuant to the President's executive order and the Bostock Supreme Court ruling, I also want to make it abundantly clear that HUD will continue to defend the agency's legally grounded and morally just commitment to LGBTQ+ communities nationwide. We know that housing is in a very vulnerable state. We know in particular for marginalized communities and those that are even marginalized within them, that they are especially vulnerable, and we have an obligation, we have a responsibility, and on behalf of the Department of Housing and Urban Development, I say to you, we are here with you, we stand with you as proud allies in this work. Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Thank you. So our first call after winning the RVP was to Kate Racer. And after she said, oh boy, this is going to be an expensive one, she said, I'm coming to the site and I'm bringing my architect. So we really appreciate her commitment and dedication, and her team that worked so hard to make this happen so diligently. Her family and friends from all of the various quasi-entities that were involved in this that made this happen, with Camille and Nate. Oh, I'm losing all my papers. They're all blown away. Camille and Nate and Matt, as well as Michelle from Mass Housing, and the work of CDAC with Sarah Barkin and others there. We really appreciate that. As you can imagine, the state has a lot of demands on their resources, and it's an incredibly difficult time for all of us in the industry, and with construction costs rising and interest rates. And the HCD has continued to be there time and time again to help deals get through. And under the leadership of the Undersecretary, we really appreciate all the hard work that you and your team have done, and we'd like to invite you up to say some remarks.
Wow, what a powerhouse lineup we have today for such a beautiful, momentous event. It is such an honor to join so many public servants that are deeply dedicated for this exceptional project, the first LGBTQ-friendly senior housing developed in the Commonwealth. And I know many have said this before, but it goes without saying again. This is a testament to the urgency of our housing crisis, which affects nearly every part of our state and nearly every population, particularly our most vulnerable. We have never before had such an opportunity to leverage enormous state and federal resources for housing and in infrastructure, thanks to our partners in Congress and in the state legislature. We finally have the momentum. Not only did we pass significant zoning reform, but the conversation has changed. Across the state, there is broad recognition that we need more housing of all kinds to keep communities affordable and vibrant. This has not been an overnight transformation, and there are many people here today who are responsible for that change. Congratulations on today's milestone in this dynamic project.
Our next speaker has been with us actually from the beginning, wearing multiple different hats. State Representative Rob Consalvo, when we first met with him, was with the city, and he was at one of the first meetings we had to talk about this project. He was then with the school department, for which this building was, and now he's a state rep. And we really appreciate all the great hard work that he put in helping this project come to not to its fruition. I'm getting ahead of ourselves. We're at the groundbreaking, waiting to see to get to this moment in time, this milestone here. So I'd like to invite State Representative Consalvo to come up and speak.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am so thrilled to be here. We've heard the term historic today mentioned several times, and I am so excited because this truly is an historic day for New England, for our city, for our Commonwealth, but for right here in the community of Hyde Park. That's right, you can applaud for that. Hyde Park has always been a leader, and we're thrilled that we're continuing to be a leader. And I just want to say a few things. One, I also want to echo the praise for my friend Eileen Montour. I don't know where she went. Eileen and I have worked together for many years when I was the District 5 City Councilor. And when I was at the school department, and Mayor Walsh at the time asked me to shepherd the process to get the school committee to vote to turn the building over to the city of Boston, Eileen would call every day, because she had my cell phone number from my city council days, which is okay. And every day she'd say, when are we on the agenda? When are we on the agenda? And as you can imagine, the bureaucracy of getting it to the agenda took a while, but I know her passion and her commitment and how hard she works, and I'm thrilled that for your leadership on this. And also my friend Gretchen Van Ness, I know has been mentioned, but Gretchen, no better person to be associated with this project. And Gretchen, I know your passion and commitment, and I thank you for your leadership, not just on this issue, but so many issues in our community. I'm also thrilled to be here today because this really is a milestone, right? For the first ever LGBTQ affordable house, senior affordable housing in our city. And I think, and working with Sheila Dillon, who I'll mention every time I see her at every event, the greatest housing chief in America, right there. I think there's no greater issue facing our city than the issue of housing, whether it be affordable rental housing, the issue of home ownership, which I was proud to be at the Home Center working under Sheila's leadership to provide more home ownership opportunities, but especially housing for our older adults. That is so critical. It's one of the most important issues facing our Commonwealth. And so understanding how important and historic that is, and that it's happening right here in our community, there is so much thanks that needs to go around for that. To our mayor, and to her team, and to HUD, and to the governor, and the lieutenant governor, and all of our colleagues in government. You know, there's an old saying that says, praise and thanks, like diamonds and gold, owes its worth to scarcity. Because too often we don't praise or thank the people that truly deserve it. All of you here, all who've been mentioned, Penrose, and all those who've worked so hard to make this happen deserve our true thanks, deserve our praise, and deserve our respect. And we thank you for choosing our community and for making this happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our work on the Rogers School has spanned 3 mayors and 2 city councilors, and despite the different players, that support has continued to be constant. We are grateful to Councillor McCarthy, who started this vision with us way back when, and that support has continued under Councillor Ricardo. Not only is Councillor Ricardo a supporter of the project, but he's also a great supporter of LGBTQ senior housing. He's a great friend of them, and if he's a friend of them, he's a friend to ours. Would you like to come up and say some remarks? Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not sure how many more speakers we have before the rain comes down, so I'll try to keep this short. This is home for me. So Hyde Park is home, and my family moved here in 1981, and it was not entirely welcoming of them. And I was born here in the 80s, and I got to see Hyde Park grow up around me. And I grew up with Hyde Park, and it was a very different experience. I stand here today as their first elected of color in a district council seat. And clap for that. That wasn't done in a vacuum. That was done because this community took it upon themselves to ensure that they were working every day to be a better version, to live up to the ideals of what this country and this city and this state can be, to be inclusive in a true sense. When I was elected, the very first project that I got to support was this one. One of the things that I'm thrilled about, even as I stand here today, is now, several years in, this is still the project that had the most community support that I have had before me, period. And we owe a lot of that to 2 of their champions for this project who were tireless in their efforts, were determined in their efforts. So I want to join the chorus of thanking Eileen Montour, who deserves all of the applause, and Gretchen Van Ness, who has been a champion for this project as well. It's with immense pride that I stand here today on this historic day, because I get to live here, and I get to be part of a community that welcomes these kinds of projects and that understands that we should be allowed to love who we love. We should be allowed to do that in community. We should be allowed to do that safely. And when we say inclusivity, we mean economically as well. And so you should be able to live in a home no matter what your income is. This project hits all of those things. And I look forward to this being not the last. I look forward to this being a template and a model for doing this kind of development and all of the different collaborations between the state, federal, municipal, and private partnerships that went into building this, that if we can do this, then other communities can do this as well, that we can create these kinds of homes, which is what these are, and there's nothing more important, frankly, than homes. These kinds of homes for everybody, no matter who they love, no matter how they look, no matter what they have in the bank, that they have a place that they can call home in a community that loves them. Hyde Park loves their community. Hyde Park will love the future residents of this wonderful project as much as they love those who are here today. And together, we will all continue to build a better Boston and a better Hyde Park and a better state and country through projects like this. So thank you, everybody.
We're getting close. So that was a great segue to our representative from the community. If I could invite Pat Tierney to come up. Penrose and LGBTQ Senior Housing, Inc. really felt that this was the place to be. What we didn't know is whether the community wanted us. And we'll have Pat say a few words about that.
Thank you, Charlie, and thank you, Penrose, really, for coming and choosing Hyde Park. We need the energy, we need everything that you're bringing to us, and we are so thankful that you're here. The project is great for many reasons. It's wonderful because it's inclusiveness, but it's also historic preservation of a beloved building, expanded green space, adding charm and beauty, a community room for all to enjoy, not just the members, revitalization of our business district. I'm a landlord, commercial landlord, a resident for many years, and a business owner, and we need new blood. And I am so excited that this project is happening. But most importantly, as everybody has said before me, it offers housing for all, a home that embraces inclusivity and the LGBTQ+ community, a home where you can live and be who you want to be, a home for everyone. I'm so happy Penrose chose my hometown to be the first LGBTQ+ community. And I'm going to repeat what I said initially, but it's not because I'm old. I just want to say, welcome, Penrose, thank you, and go Hyde Pride.
You want to say something?
Go ahead. I'll be right behind you. Go ahead. Hey, this is Tim.
This is Tim Henkel, one of the owners of Penrose.
I have never felt so much pressure before in my life. And it's not about the distinguished speakers that came before me. So very quickly, there's a whole page in my jacket that won't be read. But today, with the groundbreaking of the Pryde, we're all witness to the growing need to supply affordable housing. We've heard about the need, we've heard about the methodology to care for our older generations, to care for our LGBTQ community, and recognize the struggle that they're in. And I'm in awe of the lives of people like Gretchen Van Ness and Eileen Montour and Philippe Saad, who have chosen to make this their work, their life's work. And life's work is always important work. So thank you, everyone. To the mayor, that's right, pause. This is a moment of great agility and creativity. The end of what has come before this next 18 months or so of construction has been nothing short of miraculous, and everybody is here because they've been party to that effort and party to that success. So I'm talking here about inclusivity and bearing witness to the plights of others. But yeah, we're a housing developer, right? We're tax credits and we're interest rates and loan documents and permits and blah, blah, blah. I'm boring. But for these developments, we are an instrument. We are a means to an end. We are willing to not let the things get left on the cutting room floor, to understand and hear a vision, to synthesize that vision. So today is a great day, even though the struggle continues. And as much as we can stand here and look at this building and say, this is going to be a great resource, I can assure you, it's going to be better than you can imagine. And as much as you've probably heard about the services and programs and the things that will be delivered to the residents and the community who lives here, those are going to be even better and more impactful than we can even consider right now. This is going to be a place that becomes home, but a place that a lot of people in this community will come home to. I'd like to very quickly recognize the road ahead for our contractor, NEI. At groundbreakings, this worthy moment. There they are clapping for themselves. To understand that construction is a dangerous activity. And so I wish you safe passage on the road ahead. Be careful, we're in your hands. And I'd like to really thank my partner and friend, Charlie Adams, who put this project on his back with faithful partners, but carried it along the way. He's exhibited very special skills, and there's more to come for you all in New England under his leadership. To Carmen and Ryan sharing an umbrella back here, way to go, team. And to the rest of the Penrose community that's here, thank you for coming. I'm going to end with some remarks that strangely came out of social media from one of our assistant managers. So an assistant manager caught some of the social media flashes coming out of the opening or the groundbreaking that was going to happen here today, and she showed some enthusiasm and excited to tell someone that this Pryde building, even though she's in Connecticut, was something that her company, the company that she works for, was involved in, something we were doing. But what she wrote was, I think, just perfect and maybe a great way to end here today. She said, "It's important to recognize the improvements occurring around us. Monumental changes have come in the housing world. We're bridging housing gaps, mending communities, even creating equal opportunities for any." And I was like, oh, she mistyped. She meant many. But she didn't. It wasn't a typo. Maybe she meant all. But I don't think so either. She meant any. And so what we're doing here today, what we seek to do as we go forward, is equal opportunity. It's housing for any, which by definition is all. Thank you. I think we made it.
We did. Yes. The last folks I just want to thank are our financial partners, Redstone, Mass Housing Partnership, MHP, and MHIC, all very helpful in getting us to this end. We appreciate that. So the rain is almost like a metaphor because we're going to be back here in 18 months and celebrate the opening of this, right? And it won't rain inside the building. So this is just another step on the journey, right? This is the groundbreaking. And the real excitement comes 18 months from now. Denny, the mayor told you got 6 months off your contract. You got to do this in a year. Anyway. So we'll be back here in 18 months to celebrate with all of you, again, inside the building, and with 74 new residents in this home. Thank you all very much for coming. Appreciate it. We're going to try, do we want to try to do the picture back there? All right, we're going to try to do the picture there. It's a little treacherous, but we're all going to help each other get up in front of the rainbow sand. Thank you all.
3, 2, 1.